always, whenever I talk about social media, I always talk about reach, because that is the power of social media. And so what I mean by reach is, say I have 25 followers, but 2 of them share my content. They each have 250 friends, and maybe 2 of their friends share my content, and so on and so on and so on. So you can see that you don't need to have a lot of followers. You just need to have really good content that people engages with. So that they'll share and share and share, because then you can reach way beyond your own network. So that's the power of social media. It's word of mouth amplified. So some of these are going to sound familiar because I'm repeating a lot of stuff that I said at the last session, because of the fundamentals that I think we really need to cover every time we're talking about a social network. Mm-hmm. So when designing a plan, whether it's for Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter, or Facebook, these are the things you need to keep in mind. You need to set goals. So you need to know why you're on a social network before you get on there. Otherwise, you're just going to be posting stuff and not really getting anywhere with it.
Yeah.
So I always talk about SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-focused. So you could take a broad goal, like the example I'll use today is, if I'm a painter and my goal is to create 5 new paintings in a series. Well, let's say my goal is actually just to create new paintings in a series. It's not very specific. But if I say I want to create 5 new paintings in a series, it's getting better. But if I put a deadline to it, like September 1st, 2014, I'll have 5 new paintings completed. Then you can see how that's creating an action plan as part of your goal. And then you can track it, measure progress, and that kind of thing. So I would say before you sign up for Instagram, or well, even if you have signed up, before you start like strategically posting there, you need to figure out why you want to post. What are the different goals that you're trying to achieve in your life? And there's probably 4 or 5 of them, and try to narrow them down and try to make them SMART goals. Once you make them SMART goals, you can start thinking about who you need to connect with in order to help you achieve those goals. And the more you know about those people, the easier it is to find them. So in using my example about the painter who needs to paint 5 paintings in a new series, well, the people she might want to connect with would be like potentially peers who can offer feedback, or artists who can inspire her. And the more she knows, the better she can target them. So if you decide, so if I'm a painter and I want to make 5 new paintings in a series because I have an exhibit in Austin, Texas, then I might want to find peers in the Austin area who potentially might buy artwork like mine, and see if I can connect with them to get their feedback, so that I know that whatever it is I'm painting is going to be connecting with them. So we often focus on obvious demographics like geography, basic demographics, but really what we need to look at is the psychographics, which is their lifestyle, their interests, their values, what are they really into? And when you can find that information out, like you can go and ask them, then you can actually be the answer to their question. So if your audience doesn't know you exist yet, figure out what they're looking for and then start providing content that helps lure them in. So, and try not to speculate, because it's hard to imagine we always assume we know what our audience is thinking, but really it's better if you go and ask them. So it could be in the form of surveys, or like in the example about the woman who, the painter who needs to attract peers in Austin, Texas. She needs to actually go and ask maybe the exhibitor, like, oh, can you tell me who the people are that I'm trying to attract, and then get some information. And the more information you can find out, the better you can be the answer to their question. Because really, what it all comes down to is at the end of the day, whether it's Instagram they're searching or Twitter they're searching for something. So once you know what they're searching for, you can be there for them. So in order to do that, you should make a list of 6 to 10 keywords that answers the questions that your audience is looking for, and also include some things that describes what makes you unique as an artist. And those will be your most used hashtags. And that hashtags is really big for Instagram and how people search on Instagram. And then of course there's always brand identity, brand image. So if somebody sees an Instagram that you posted and they're like, oh, that's really cool, they'll share it, but they might not notice your username or your profile. But then if they see something else that's really cool, they might go, hey, that looks like a familiar username and profile. And then they share it a third time, they're like, oh yeah, I know this person's work. And then the fourth time, they would recognize your username and profile before they even see it, because they recognize the kind of content you're posting, because you're being strategic about it. So you need your profile and your username to match the brand identity you have with everything else, like your Facebook, your Twitter, your website, everything, so that if someone sees your Instagram feed and your Facebook feed, it all connects.